the cliches that you want to be against. Like, well, I mean, like, not against, but like the things that you stand for. Don't let yourself fall into cliches where you start to question if you still stand for what you believe in. And, you know, it's so easy to do that because, you know, you start feeling popular, you start feeling like, you know, you're getting attention, all of, you know, these things that, you know, you may potentially have felt like you missed out on. Like I mentioned in that video that I was, you know, a foster kid, intermittently like tossed between my family and foster families, and just like, you know, churches that were not good, and just, you know, all of it. So at that point in my life, I so deeply wanted to be accepted on a deeper level, and just like ultimately to like just feel loved on a deeper level. And I went about things in such a bad way. Like, I dated the worst guys. Like, I was freaking a shop boy at a bar, like walking around in my underwear for tips. Like, no, like that has never been who I am. Like, and at the time I thought I was like living my best life. I thought I was having so much fucking fun, but in all actuality, I was just throwing my soul away just to be a part of a group that, you know, didn't even really value me for who I am. So I want you guys to like take that and just, you know, no matter how old you are, how young you are, whatever, you have basic human emotions to where you know when something doesn't feel right, and just go with that gut, grab that gut feeling and run with it. Like, I even said this in that first video, like, do not come out until you feel ready, because it's scary. Like, coming out is so scary. Like, how are your closest friends going to react? Like, are you still going to have the same friends? Like, what are your parents going to think? What's your dad going to think? Like, so many things change when you come out, but so many things change for the better. And I'm just saying, like, if you can avoid the dark side of the gay community and find the outreach, find the other misunderstood kids who may not be what your other friends may see as attractive or cool, or like the it kid, or like, the kid with a big following or whatever. Like, go find those other kids who have that side of them that's creative, whether that's through makeup or art or through singing, music, you know, playing, you know, instruments, being involved in social groups, political groups, whatever. Find people who stimulate your brain and make you question, who don't make you question if what you're doing is right or wrong. And like I said, like, in that time frame, I didn't think any of it was wrong, like, that I was doing. And I know I was doing, you know, things that were wrong. Like, I was, you know, partying way too much. I was just doing whatever to fit in. And, you know, that's the crazy thing, because like when I was in the closet and dating girls and all that, I never had to struggle with fitting in. Like, I always had, you know, my group of friends that loved me. Like, yes, not all of them knew I was gay, but like, I knew they still loved me. And like, a lot of those people to this day are still friends of mine. And, you know, when I did come out, like, I would say when I came out, I lost maybe, aside from like the foster family I was talking about, like, that ripped my heart out and threw it on the ground, because like, we were going towards adoption with these people. Like, they were going to adopt me. I was going to have my dream family, you know, whatever, which I love my family. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's just like so much shit had happened leading up to that I was so ready to feel a part of something so normal. And then these feelings I had of just being attracted to men never really got heard. You know, that's actually the same time frame I had my first boyfriend, and he literally lived with us. Like, it was okay for him to be gay because they weren't going to adopt him. By the by, like, I'm, again, not putting anyone out there. I'm just speaking my truth for, you know, this coming out video, because I'm very passionate about this. Like, this is like some real deep shit that, you know, a lot of people don't get from me, because I'm not a very, you know, surface level, like, I don't really talk about, you know, myself or, you know, my feelings. And, you know, just with this day, like, I'm putting a lot of myself out there, but I do feel like if I can help somebody who may be struggling with the same things that I potentially was struggling with at that point in my life, that, you know, like me telling this story and saying how I feel, you know, even if it just helps one person feel a little bit better about who they are, that's why I'm doing this. That's, you know, that's all I want. I want, you know, to be a beacon, to be an advocate for someone, like, in, you know, I'm not saying like beat my door down for advice, because I'm not, you know, an expert on anything really. I just don't want anyone to have to, you know, go through their life going from a 16-year-old at his first Pride all alone because he didn't have a family and his foster family just kicked him out, to just clinging on to, you know, negativity because that seemed cool at the time, and I didn't have any rules because I was on my own. Like, I was just doing it, you know, and I'm not saying everything from that point in my life was all bad. It's just like, I'm just really wanting to get this message across the right way, because, you know, there were great times. Like, I got myself through college, buying my own first car, my first place, like furnishing my first place, like, all of that was through, you know, working hard and finding myself. And, you know, the parts of my values that, like, I'm saying, like, I lost some things. Like, I didn't lose everything. Like, I still knew who I was. I just let myself fall into some stupid situations and with some stupid people, honestly. And, you know, you bounce back from shit like that. Like, everybody does. But, like, you don't have to fall in the first place, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And you don't have to, you know, be a cliche, and you definitely don't have to fit into someone else's mold on what's too femme, too mask, or just, oh, you're too confused, you're not going to understand me. Like, there is so much confliction with trying to date in the community, because 9 times out of 10, the people who are saying you're too femme, you're too this, you're too that, has some deeply ass-rooted issues that they have not dealt with yet, and they are taking it on you, and that's not cool. I mean, straight up, it's just not cool. But, you know, through all that, you know, it just took some time and some realization that, you know, my value never went away just because of someone else's inability to see it, you know, and, you know, that's something else. Like, take that with you. Like, your value never depreciates because of someone else's lack of funding, ever. You know, like, how you see yourself at the end of the day, the person in your, like, that you, I mean, you might have, you know, a super hot boyfriend that you're going to bed with every night, but you have to go to bed with yourself at the end of the day, and you have to be alone in your own brain. And if you don't feel good about your situation, change it. Like, I know that's so much easier said than done, as being someone who was in an abusive relationship. You know, my first love, per se, you know, that was a very abusive relationship. And forever, it felt like, this is normal. Like, I can't get out of this. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Like, who would I, you know, where would I sleep? You know? And that's, you know, those thoughts were running through my brain when I was feeling this way after these things would happen, because I put myself in these situations. And that's when I had to, like, pick myself up by my fucking heel straps, since, you know, I'm so femme. We're going to go ahead and go all the way with the cliches. And I had to strap my fucking heels on, prance my ass out that motherfucking door, get my own life back on track. And that was the best thing I ever did, because from that moment on, I was no longer living for anyone else. I was living for myself. And from that, I grew success. I grew self-confidence again, that, you know, I thought, I let this person take from me, that they did not take from me. They may have hid it from me for a little while, but they did not take it from me. And, you know, with that being said, love yourself, bro. Like, just love yourself. And if you can do that, coming out's the easy part. Like, you know, I'm mainly talking from past reference, so that maybe, hopefully, some of you people, or you kids, you young kids, don't make the same mistakes I made in that, you know, fragile mindset of being a new 18-year-old, you know, little tweaky gay boy. Like, be careful, be safe, ultimately be fucking safe. Like, if someone tells you, oh yeah, I got tested, okay, that's cool, here's a condom, like, still fucking wear the condom. Like I said, I'm getting on some real shit in this video, and, you know, I don't care who it may offend. If you have triggers, I'll put a little trigger thingy at the beginning of the video saying, if you feel triggered by, you know, real talk, don't watch this video, because, you know, it is what it is. This is my coming out experience, and this is my development, my growth from coming out and being an openly gay man in, you know, the central part of America, where like, I'm in the buckle of the Bible Belt. Like, yeah, gays, you know, gay people can get married here, which is great, but that was an act of the entire country, not per se my state. Like, my state's still so backwards, and you know, eventually I would love to move to a more liberal state, which that's the goal. You know, this is like a 6 year. I should have made this video a year ago. Well, no, because actually, this is the best point I've ever been at in my entire life, and thank you, God. Like, everything in my life is so great right now, and I had to go through all of those things to get to this point. And maybe inadvertently, like, I had to go through all those things to be here now. But if I can save someone from just a smidge of pain along their journey, I am here for that, like, all day, every day. And, you know, so don't let yourself be played for a fool. Your value is very, very there. No one can ever take that from you. I'm gonna have to, like, also be right here. I just have to this eyebrow real quick, so I'm gonna be right here, but I'm still gonna be talking. Yeah, like, no matter what you look like, no matter what people call you, you are just as, you know, much you as you've ever been and you'll ever be. And, you know, it sounds corny, but, you know, no one else can do you the way you do you. And, you know, there might be people who, like, maybe like you or want to copy your style. Like, don't let that bother you. Like, what is it? Imitation is the greatest form of a compliment. I don't think that's how that goes. But, you know, it's along those lines. Like, if someone's trying to be like you, you're doing something right. Unless you're being mean. And they're, you know, that's a whole different viewpoint. Like, if you're achieving your goals, if you're making goals, if you're checking off those boxes, checking off those lists, I've always had a list. It is what it is. I love myself for my lisp and my stutters at times, but I got off track. Lost my train of thought. I'm probably gonna edit this part out. I might leave it so that you can see that, you know, like, I am a real person. Like, no one's perfect. Not that I think I'm perfect by any means. Like, I am far from perfect. But, you know, just don't let people fuck with your head, especially not your heart, because, you know, when you do truly fall in love with someone, you know, you have to genuinely love yourself before you can love anyone else. Like, yeah, that's what RuPaul says. You know, it's just so true. Like, you know, that saying has been commercialized. You know, most of us watch RuPaul's Drag Race. So, you know, we've heard that expression, but, like, how many times have you actually stopped and thought, like, what does it actually mean to love myself? And, like, what does that look like? I think that means, for me anyways, like, for me, you know, having to come to terms with myself and, like, being essentially an outcast. Like, I didn't, you know, like I said earlier, I never truly felt like I was loved by a family. And, you know, I shouldn't say that, because there are going to be family members who watch this. Like, the people in my life who are in my family, who are still in my, like, circle today, know that this isn't about them. So if they take it that way, I mean, if you guys take it that way, you know, that's you. That's your insecurity, not mine. Like, I'm talking about the people who have left me, who have abandoned me, the foster families who scooted me out for being who I am. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not talking about anyone specific in this moment. But, you know, if people can't, you know, see your value, it's their loss. Like, and don't let that, I guess what I'm getting at is, don't let that alter your own image of who you are, because they have no power or control over that day to day unless you give it to them. And when you give it to them, you know, you may have lost a little battle with yourself, and you may have lost, you know, that moment or that person or that pride that you had in that situation, but that's a battle, that's not the war. And you truly have won the war when you can, like I said, lay in your bed at night, look in the mirror. Well, not look in the mirror. I'm looking in the mirror right now is why I said that. But when you can look in the mirror and be okay with who looks back at you and not feel insecure, like, oh, you know, everyone's gonna have insecurities, but like, not like, oh, I fucking hate myself. I don't want to look at myself. Like, why am I here? Why am I in this body? That's what I'm talking about. Not like, oh, I have a pimple. You know, everyone feels that. But, you know, a lot of us gay kids go out desperately seeking love and attention and affirmation because we don't feel it towards ourselves. And, you know, the best advice I can give is before you go out and start trying to date, like, just check in with yourself, dude. Like, throughout the day, like, this is something I still do all the time. Like, if I'm in a bad mood, I'm like, dude, Nick, why do you feel this way right now? Like, what's bothering you? And I have, like, this mental dialogue with myself, and I'm like, okay, this bothered me, and this is why. So before, when I was like that 17-year-old in the video from before, I would shove that shit so deep down so that no one saw a flicker of emotion from me. Or I would just be trying to be so pleasing to whoever was around me that, like, I didn't take that emotion as something that mattered. And now I just check in with myself, like, why do you feel this way? And, like, if something bothers me or someone specifically hurts me, like, I'm either going up to that person or I'm, like, calling, FaceTiming, like, hey, this is how I feel, this is why. I understand, like, you know, always, you know, hear someone out. Like, you're not always going to be right. That's not how life works. But if someone hurt you, do your best to explain why without coming across it in an attacking way. And just be like, this hurt me because. You may have felt, you know, reiterate it with, like, you may have did it because of this, but this is what directly impacted me, and this is why. And you will get so far with that. Like, for real. For real, for real. And all of that has essentially led me to the best part of this story, which is, you know, what I want to really express is, like, you can get past, like, even this, say you're watching this and you did do some of the same things I did, or you're feeling alone, you're feeling trapped, like, you're in that situation I'm talking about where someone or a boyfriend or, you know, your dad, your mom, your uncle, like, someone's treating you wrong and you don't know how to get out of it. And this is, like, triggering that emotion for you. Take this as, you know, the first step in you realizing maybe you have let some things slide that you shouldn't have. Maybe you let someone walk all over you that you shouldn't have. Take it as day one. And if you don't like that, change it. Talk to that person. Try and obviously work it out if you can work it out. But, like, if someone's hurting you, you know, physically, sexually, emotionally, whatever it may be, I don't want to say people don't change, but once, yeah, you know, shame on you. Twice, shame on you maybe. Third time, shame on fucking me. Like, I'm a firm believer in second chances. And I would probably say I'm a firm believer in third chances, but 3 strikes, you're out, bro. Like, that's it. 3 strikes, done. I mean, if they're going to do something horrible 3 times, they're not going to change. You know, maybe later on down the road when they've sorted their own shit out, maybe then, but not in that time frame. And, you know, you guys being together or, you know, whatever that relationship may be, whether it's, you know, a boyfriend or a family or just even a friend, like, you know, yes, that person might need you, but if they're abusing you, you can't save everyone. And if it's causing you to lose yourself in the process, you need to be worth it more than the other person. Because there's such a fine line between being selfish and selfless and loving yourself and being narcissistic. I know I've been joking around saying I'm narcissistic. I know I am a little bit, like, there's no denying it. I love myself a little too much probably, but, you know, even that is, I mean, since we're laying it all out, being real, even when I'm, like, joking around like that, that's a fucking front for me. Like, that's my, like, wall that I've built. That's me, you know, fighting back at the world, making jokes, saying, you know, you can't come at me because I love me enough where what you say won't bother me. And if you really know me, like my closest friends know that, you know, I'm probably going to go home and cry about it, you know. But then I'm going to wipe my tears, reapply my mascara, and move on, you know. Or fix it if it's fixable. But I'm just saying, like, don't let people hurt you because you think you're trying to save them. Not everyone can be saved. But, you know, the one person you can save, the one person you absolutely can save is the person right across from you in that mirror. You can always save that person. It's never too late. It's never too late to start over. It's never too late to be the strong person and stop being a victim. Or just don't let yourself be a victim. Sometimes in life we are a victim. Yeah, that happens. But how you rise from that fall is what defines you, not the moment of the breaking point. That's so key. So I feel like I've probably more than expressed what I wanted to get out from that time frame of my life. The 17-year-old version of Robbie Nick. God, there's so many times I wish I could just like, because I've watched that video and just like, I want to go through a time machine and sit down in front of him and be like, dude, I see you being cocky. I see that you're hurt. I'm proud of you for talking about these things that did hurt you. But don't go running head first into another bad situation because you just got out of one. Like, come on. It's, you know, it makes total sense. And, you know, I have to give a lot of credit for the way I feel about myself now and, you know, who I am to myself for the time frame where I was alone. I was single for, you know, I've never stayed single for too long. I've never, you know, liked to be alone. I'm sure that directly ties back to, you know, the abandonment I felt as a child. And, you know, at least I can own that. At least I know that. But, you know, I did stay single for almost 2 years before I met Brandon. And, you know, I was working on finding myself, but I was finding myself as a single person. And at that point in time when I met him, I knew I loved myself. Like, I knew I did. I was confident. Like, I was hustling. I was working hard. I was doing my own thing. Like, had my own place, you know. All of the things I have now, except I didn't have someone to share it with. And when I met him, you know, ironically, it was, you know, it was an immediate connection with us. Like, it wasn't immediate, like, where we knew we were going to be getting married one day. I will definitely say I didn't see it coming from, you know, the way our relationship started, because it was very just, like, flirty, you know, back and forth, you know, banter. Like, you know, back then, I didn't really think, you know, a whole lot was going to come out of it, because I was genuinely having fun living, you know, the single life and being a free person for the first time and just, you know, being out in the world alone, but being with myself in a positive way and loving myself. And, you know, and I guess it's kind of the, you know, the sense where it comes when you're not looking for it. Because I absolutely was not looking for a relationship when I found this boy. Well, this man. Maybe we were still boys then, but now we're definitely men. Married men. Married menses. But, you know, when I quit looking for it, it's just so ironic that, you know, everyone says that all the time. You know, when you quit looking for it, that's when you find it. And for us, that's when we found it. And it was kind of a very similar situation with him, which I'm not going to air, you know, all of his shit out here on a video because he doesn't do YouTube. And, you know, my social media presence is a lot more public than his. You know, he definitely has more friends on Facebook than I do, but he keeps a lot more stuff private than I do. Like, I'm very much a vocal sharing person, and he's not, so I'm not just going to put all his business on blast. But, you know, he was in an unhealthy relationship too before we had gotten together, and he was, you know, single for roughly the same amount of time I was. Like, it's kind of ironic how, like, our timeline worked before we even knew each other, because, like, we were going through the same relationship at the same time, and we both took the time we needed for ourselves and then found each other, like, you know, I am someone who believes in God, and I think that, you know, God was preparing us for, you know, what we have today. Like, you know, and it hasn't always been, you know, perfect. We've had our fair share of fights, you know, fuck ups. Like, we both messed up, you know, throughout our relationship, but, you know, we knew we cared about each other enough to overcome that. And I think I just, you know, we grew up a little bit together, you know, not like growing up as kids, but like we grew up as adults together. Like, we were young when we first met. I mean, we're still not, like, we're not old by any means. I'm 25, he's 24. So, you know, I was 21, he was 20 when we first met. So we were just, you know, becoming adults. So we got to go through a lot of big milestones together in maturing some and growing up. And, you know, it was great for us. And I do have to give him a lot of credit for the things that I have overcome for myself. Like, my viewpoint on relationships, my viewpoint on politics, you know, I've always obviously had my own opinion, and I didn't let him shape it. I just, you know, his influence has been such a positive one on me that when you're around positivity for, you know, long enough, that positivity is going to rub off on you. And, you know, even with his family, like like our family, I should say at this point, because, you know, his family, you know, I love it. I adore his family. And, you know, it's ironic because I was talking about like how, you know, I was always seeking a family that I never thought I would have. And, you know, again, when I quit looking for it, I met Brandon, and we have that. Well, I have that family now, thanks to him. Like, his family opened their world to me. I mean, no, it wasn't overnight. Like, we built our relationship. We got to know each other. Like, we just did everything the right way. And now we just got married, which I'm going to get into more detail about the whole marriage and things as soon as I wrap up, like, the, you know, it gets better part of this. And, you know, I do apologize for how long this video is. I might break it up into, like, parts, since it is so long, and since, you know, there's so much stuff I wanted to talk about, and because I haven't been on social media I haven't posted a video in so long. And, you know, this really is something that I'm very passionate about, like this channel. Like, I really want this channel to work. And, like, it's not that I want to find fame out of it. I mean, like, I was partly joking around, partly being serious when I was like, this is my TV show. Like, this is a time where I can directly talk to myself. Like, in a weird way, it's kind of like my own form of, like, therapy in a sense, and I fucking love it. Like, it's such a positive way for me to get some things out that I want to get out. And, you know, but I want to wrap up the segment of the video where I'm talking about, you know, it gets better and all that. I think I've summed it up. Like, I've what is it, 36 minutes, and the other one was 15, so I've been talking about it for roughly 45 minutes. And I guess ultimately what I'm wanting to get across is, don't settle for less. Love the fuck out of yourself, because as soon, you know, when you do love yourself, you're going to find someone who loves you so fiercely that you just don't even know, like, what to do with that love, like, other than straight up appreciate it. And, you know, try your best not to fall into stereotypes. You know, don't be open to people. Like, you know, you may never know who is your soulmate, because you might be sitting there saying no fats, no femmes, no blacks, no Asians. Like, you might be cutting out someone that could be your true love because you don't maybe understand. You may be pigeonholing this person. You may be, you know, referring to them as femme or too mask. I mean, we could even go at it from that angle. Like, you're too mask. Like, you're too mask for me, bruh. Like, I mean, it could happen. You know, alternate realities, things like that. I told you I was going to be talking about some conspiracies. That could be one. An alternate reality where in the gay community, being mask is the lesser role in a relationship. How about that? But probably not. But yeah, just don't be what hurt you. Don't turn into the person who hurt you. Hurting people hurt people. So keep that in mind. don't be scared to love. Just go in with not so much your heart on your sleeve, but your heart in your chest, protected behind your ribcage where it should be, until you know that the person that you're falling for deserves that heart, deserves you to open up that vault and give that to them. Don't just be like, here you go. Here you go. I was lonely as a kid. Take it, hurt me, do whatever you want. Be better than that. Be better than that, because, so much better comes from it. And, I guess when I go into talking about how, what's going on in my life now and everything, it's kind of going to be a segue in, to finish referring to the It Gets Better stuff, because ultimately it is my It Gets Better story. Like, what the life I'm living right now is the It Gets Better. It gets so much better. Never in a million years thought I would be married to someone as honest, trustworthy, smart, independent, comforting, loyal as, my husband is. I never thought we'd be starting a family together, which we are. That's kind of what I can't really talk about. We have the good old American dream, we have our piece of the pie. We don't have everything by any means. Like, there are things that, we could benefit from having, but those are, the things we don't have are pretty much wanted things. Like, we have everything we need. We never go hungry. We have money in the bank. We have a relationship that's not hurtful. We don't play games, and it took a lot of development to get to the point where, you can be in a relationship like that. Like, you can say all day long, I want a boyfriend, I want commitment, I want to be loved, but think about all the things that come with that. Like, you have to lay down some things, like, you have to sacrifice some things, you have to be willing to put, someone else's feelings above your own some, and you have to be strong enough in yourself that you can do that without losing yourself, without becoming someone's puppet or, someone's plaything, or becoming something that, this person doesn't value. Because, when the other person loves you the way you deserve to be loved, it will never feel that way. Ever. It just won't. When it's right, it's right. And when it's wrong, it's wrong. And if it feels wrong, it's wrong. So don't let that control you. Don't let your situation be your definition. Your situation is a temporary thing. It's a passing thing. It's something that you are going to grow out of. So it's never your final landing point. Like, unless you want it to be, unless, you found your happiness, unless you know that you're there, essentially. And yeah, so you kids out there who, are still scared, still thinking that, it might not be worth it to come out. You might not feel safe yet. Just, like I said earlier, do it on your time. Only you will know when it feels right. And if you've been outed, I'm so sorry. Like, no one deserves to take that from you. And if, they did, and you've been outed, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is own it. Don't let it be a situation where you are weak. Use it as a platform to be yourself. And, it's not going to be on your own terms, but at least you're not hiding anything anymore. And, who knows, maybe you having to come out like that ultimately ends up with you finding your dreams. You never know. It's crazy how this world works. So, I'm going to leave it there with that. Excuse me. Just love yourself, love others, treat people the way you want to be treated, and life really isn't going to be too hard. So for that part of it all, we're done. And like I said, when I'm, you know, going into now where I'm talking about like my current situation, why I got off social media and YouTube and stuff like that, keep everything I said in the first part in the back of your mind for why I've kind of been absent, and, you know, why I've decided to keep some things private and all that, because, you know, sometimes sharing everything with the world, or, you know, sometimes, you know, other people knowing too much could be what leads to jealousy, or someone wanting to take that from you, or someone wanting to hurt you for it. But anyways, so things that are happening now. So it's been about 3 months since I posted a video, and that's, you know, so many things have been going on, so many great things, so many fucking amazing things have been happening. Nothing really bad at all. Like, I mean, I guess you could say, I've just been so busy. Like, so, you know, we moved from Tulsa, not quite a year ago. It was, May. Okay, so in May. So coming up on a year, we moved back to Oklahoma City from Tulsa. We found the cutest little 1-bedroom apartment, like, beautiful. You know, I will say it wasn't on the absolute best side of town. That's the only downside. But, you know, the inside of this place is so beautiful. Like, literally, like, you know, my dream home would have you know, the pretty white subway tile backsplash, you know, some type of quartz or granite countertop, modern bathrooms, big walk-in closets. You know, that's essentially everything we found in this little apartment, except it's just not a house yet. I mean, we haven't got to the point where we have a house yet. Sorry, I keep getting quiet because I hear Brandon in the living room talking, and I think he's trying to get my attention, but he's playing the PlayStation. Not sure what game he's playing, but he plays with his little online buddies who, by the way, some of y'all gamers be saying some derogatory ass shit to each other. Like, I don't know how y'all be coming out of there and not tearing, because y'all be tearing each other down. Y'all be tearing each other down just to tear each other down. I do not understand it. Like, I will never get it, but y'all do y'all. But anyways, I think he's calling for me when he's just talking shit to people online. You hear him? I'm going to try and intensify that part of the video so you can actually hear his ass. But yeah, so anyways, back to our place. Like, you know, like I said, it's not, you know, in the ideal neighborhood, but it has a lot of the things that we wanted in our home, in our dream home. It has a lot of those things here now. Like, our kitchen is beautiful. It's not, you know, a massive kitchen, but it's got this subway tile that I so much have always wanted on the backsplash. It's got like a faux type granite marbly countertop. You know, it's just a great place. So we initially moved into a 1-bedroom apartment, and, you know, we have a lot of large furniture pieces. Like, our bed is a California king, and this apartment was only 650 square feet. Cute as a button apartment, but it was awfully tiny. And sorry, it's hard to talk and buff your nose out at the same time. So we, you know, talked to the landlord. We were like, hey, we love living here, like, this is a great community, blah 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 blah. But we want to potentially move into a 2-bedroom apartment, and we have. Okay guys, thank you so much for following along with this video. I thought it would be funny if I decided to end this video in my closet. Since the whole concept of this video is coming out of the closet, I thought it'd be funny. Ha! Punny jokes there. Anyways, guys, there's only going to be one more part to this video, so stay tuned. I'm going to be releasing it within the next couple of days. As always, thank you so much for sticking with me and following this video journey with me. Stay tuned and subscribe to my channel. Love you guys. Bye.